So the LDS Church, apparently without telling anyone, made a few changes to their lesson teaching children about polygamy. But I saved the original version on Internet Archive. I'll refer you to my previous video on this topic for an analysis of the first lesson. Here I'll do a little compare and contrast exercise. So right away you'll notice that they've changed the subtitle of the lesson. It used to say, "Faith to obey a law from the Lord even when it's hard," and now has the almost comical "a commandment for a time." Doesn't have the same ring, does it? They also changed the line, "Joseph wondered how the Lord felt about that," to "Joseph had a lot of questions." Not sure the reasoning behind that change. We know that Joseph knew that God disapproves of polygamy, but that's not what the church is saying. Maybe they're trying to tell children that it's okay to have questions about polygamy, as long as they believe the church's answers to the questions, of course. Here you see that while the original said God sometimes commanded his people to be in marriages of one man and more than one woman, the Revised Version claims that God sometimes commanded a man to be married to more than one wife. The change from his people being commanded to a man being commanded is striking, trying to calm fears that the church will issue a general reinstatement of polygamy, perhaps. An odd alteration was the change from more than one woman to more than one wife. Isn't a married woman a wife by definition? Are they implying that some wives may not be women? A strange and seemingly superfluous substitution. And now we start to get into some edits which are a bit more substantive. The earlier version has Joseph alone being told to marry other women, but now Joseph and others are told to be in plural marriages. Are they reverse engineering a cover for Brigham practicing polygamy before he claims Joseph told him about it? The part about Joseph not wanting to do it is cut out, as well as Joseph allegedly telling women to pray about it before marrying him. Don't want to imply that a bishop might ask a young woman to pray about being his second wife. Poor Emma Smith has been totally erased from the new version. Is that better than the lies they told in the old version? I'm not sure. Gone is the claim that Joseph taught the 12 apostles about polygamy. And intriguingly, gone is the claim that Brigham Young prayed and learned that he should be a polygamist. They removed references to some LDS being asked to be polygamous for many years, and that it was very unpopular. They also deleted the faith-promoting but spurious claim that God blessed the polygamous families. The only unaltered part of the story is how polygamy ended, of which they omitted much, as I discussed previously. So I wonder, dear viewer, why did the church do this? Presumably it had something to do with the outcry that good people like you gave at the original. Does that mean that they would have kept the original if nobody had said anything? Many other good people like Michelle Stone and Carol Pearson have discussed the potential harm that the previous lesson could have on children. Looking at these changes, I'm left to ask, is it really any better to teach lies in a presumably less objectionable manner? Because despite the alterations, almost every single sentence in the lesson is still demonstrably false. And the purpose of the old lesson, presumably, was to show the faith of the early Mormons. But the new lesson doesn't even attempt to give a justification for polygamy. The subtitle states, "A commandment for a time." Does God, whom the Book of Mormon describes as unchanging, just give random commands to people at random times for no reason? Altogether, I think that this furtive editing of the polygamy lesson just lands the church in a weaker place. They keep insisting that they have nothing to hide about polygamy, and that they are completely transparent with their history, even as we see them editing the historical narrative in real time. The only possible way out for them is to tell the truth, that Joseph and Hyrum Smith taught that polygamy is, was, and always will be an abomination.